Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips a balance in favor of fair use. Okay, guys, here is an article from Tampa Bay Times. It is from 2013. F.B.I. Scientology investigation, balancing the First Amendment with charges of abuse and forced labor. Almost like FBI knew what was going on. Almost like LAPD knew what was going on, eh? Anything for money, I guess. John Brousseau drove away from the Church of Scientology's compound east of Los Angeles at 6 one morning and was gone more than 12 hours before church staffers found his goodbye note. Article by Thomas C. Coben, published January 12, 2013. John Brousseau hadn't been seen for hours, not at the afternoon muster and not at the dinner break. That's when they got concerned. At 6 a.m., he had driven his black Ford Excursion out of the Church of Scientology's huge compound east of Los Angeles, guards at the gate waving as usual. A 32-year member of the Church's religious order, the Sea Org, and a master craftsman, Brousseau often did special jobs for Scientology's leader, basically probably his slave, David Miscavige. He could come and go from the church's international base, the INT base, with a freedom other workers didn't enjoy, but now it was approaching 7:30 p.m. and he wasn't back. It's honestly, to me, like disrespectful and laughable that they do this muster. It's not even a military. What's his name? LRH couldn't even hack it anyways. 2 Scientology staffers found a note in his room. By now you've noticed I'm gone. I couldn't stand to see my Sea Org friends so mistreated. I won't support it anymore. Goodbye. Where had he gone? Within days, church private investigators, within days, I can assure you it was sooner than that. Within days, church private investigators spotted him in South Texas. They're tracking him down like a piece of cattle. He was meeting with Marty Rathburn. Oh, boy. A former top deputy to Miscavige and now his most vocal critic. Well, Rathburn's back on the payroll, so. 4 church officers flew there from California in a charter jet. They confronted Brousseau before dawn one morning in a motel hallway. Get lost, he told them. I know what I'd tell him, and it wouldn't be that. 2 days later, Scientology's newest runaway was singing to the FBI. Something tells me that this is going to go nowhere. I must be psychic. Keep abusing the children, keep asking them sexual questions, keep locking them up in closets, locking them up under stairwells and basements. Isolated work sites, limited communication with the outside. I'd say there's no communication. Psychological pressure to obey. No, there's no pressure. You will obey. Guards poised to chase after runaways. Yeah, and I'm just going to add in here all that barbed wire fence over their apartments. LAPD know exactly what's going on. The Church of Scientology imposes a raft of restrictions and mental controls on its religious workers. They're not religious. Can we just please stop playing the game? It's not a religion. Who grind on? No, they're manual labor slaves. Abiding 100-hour work weeks. It's manual labor. It's slavery. In mid-2009, two FBI agents, of course no names, based in Los Angeles, quietly started investigating the church's treatment of its workers. Wow, they sent two whole FBI investigators. Two! Wow! That must have been really, really on the budget there. They started investigating the church's treatment of its workers. Investigators continued through 2010 and into 2011. It was the FBI's first known criminal investigation of Scientology in 30 years. What does that tell you, you guys? The second investigation in 30 years. The agents focused on possible human trafficking. It's out in the open. Obtaining labor by force or the threat of force. Interestingly enough, there's no mention of the children here. It's almost like, the children are invincible and everybody's acting as if this huge organization has no children there. The FBI won't confirm it investigated the church, please, nor will the U.S. Attorney's Office, which works in tandem with the FBI. The Department of Justice in Washington returned a Freedom of Information Act request saying no records are available. You see? Those Freedom of Information Acts, like the records, you're supposed to be able to get those by law. Scientology spokeswoman Karen Powell. What a great winner that one is. The church has no knowledge that this examining ever occurred. Because you guys' mind control's real good. But the Tampa Bay Times found the FBI conducted a sustained methodical investigation. Wow, isn't that telling? That's so telling. Two agents, no names here, traveled to several states and questioned dozens of former Sea Org members. Did they talk to the children Sea Org members too? Inquiring minds really want to know. As well as with other familiar church operations. The Times interviewed 15 key witnesses who provide for the first time a vivid portrait of the investigation. I wonder if they talked to the children of the Cadet Org, the ranch, the ranch that's located in, let me think. And the schools, the Mace Kingsley and all those schools. The FBI authorized some church defectors. Defectors? Isn't defecting what, like, prisoners do, or somebody like living in North Korea or China? They call them defectors. To covertly record certain conversations. Well, just ask Scientology. They record everything. It should be really easy. At least one witness agreed to wear a wire. Wow. One whole witness you guys have. All the people speaking out, and you could only get one witness if needed. The FBI obtained aerial surveillance video of the church's remote facility outside L.A. Well, you know what? I think German News has aerial footage from back in the 90s. It might have changed a little bit, but I think it's been out for a while. Agents even talked of raiding the property. Wow, that's good they talked about it. Isn't that great, you guys? The FBI agents talked about raiding Scientology. Fabulous, right? Fabulous to talk about it. It fucking sucks to be the children in there, doesn't it? Through it all, the church continued to tout itself as mankind's only hope. Mankind's only slavery-bound prison. A beacon. You guys, beacon is so symbolic. Go look at George Bush Sr.'s Points of Light speech where he talks about being a beacon. Everybody wants to be a beacon, don't they? Miscavige christened more than 24 multi-million-dollar churches, calling them islands of sanity for a troubled world. No words could be more inaccurate than that. And the church's PR machine credited him for leading a renaissance of the religion. Propaganda at its finest. L. Ron Hubbard started in 1954, but as church brass, are church brass like the executives too, that hide crimes on humanity and crimes against children, and R's of women? So are the church brass the executives that hide the crimes against children and the R's against women, aiding and abetting? But as church brass cut ribbon after ribbon, long silent Sea Org defectors stepped forward in bunches, speaking out to the media about their experiences on the inside. The FBI easily found them. Of course they did. It's too bad for the children inside, isn't it? So did the church. Its private eyes spied on many of the ex-insiders who were working with the FBI. Teams of church officers fanned out to confront them. Where's child services? Wasn't child services called too? I mean, with all the abuse on the children, you'd think child services would be involved. You would think LAPD would be involved in some way. Maybe one or two of the honest officers they have left. A jittery Brousseau took to wearing elaborate disguises when meeting with investigators. Scientology also hired a former Justice Department prosecutor. Listen to this, guys. It's unbelievable. I gotta take some water. Listen to this. This is depressing. Scientology also hired a former Justice Department prosecutor and supervisor to make contacts inside the department. So that just means there's no hope for the children, right? The FBI plowed on, but the agents started losing momentum. No shit. In the second year. Wonder why? Ching, 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 ching. A key turning point came when the church won a victory. Won a victory? Well, I guess you can win victories when you got that kind of money, huh? Fuck the children. Fuck the women who are SA'd. Fuck the children who are SA'd. Just fuck all of them, right? A key turning point came when the church won a victory against human trafficking claims in federal civil court. It's because they got the money. Doesn't mean they're not doing it. First Amendment guarantees a free exercise of religion helped Scientology prevail in those lawsuits. You see how they try to reverse it on you guys? You see that? Church whistleblower. Oh, I'm not even going to say this guy's name. You guys know who I'm talking about. I'm not even uttering this guy's name. You know, considering MR was so involved with covering up the crimes of the children, I don't want to read anything that he has to say. Because all these execs talk about is how they were physically assaulted by David Miscavige. To me, it's like trying to have an argument about whether segregation... all gaslighting. Everything that guy says is gaslighting. So now I know this is a controlled article. It began with a mother angry and frustrated. Susan Lench allowed her daughter, Kate Olson, to join the Sea Org at 17. Kate left their home in Portland, Oregon, moved to LA, and went to work as a data clerk in a church office building on Hollywood Boulevard. She got one vacation in 15 years, and the church cut it short. In all that time, Lynch saw her daughter for parts of 6 days. A media report about human trafficking got Lynch thinking. She researched it on the internet, attended a community workshop, and talked about her daughter's situation with a friend. Later, the friend called the FBI office in LA. Why would the point of contact for the FBI be located in LA? Anybody safe pointing come to mind? The man answering the phone took the information but added, "This is a long shot." You see, they don't even want to help. Minutes later, he called back. FBI agents wanted to meet. On July 20th, 2009, Lynch and friend Susan Elliott walked into FBI offices accompanied by 2 others. Former Sea Org member Astor Woodcraft. Oh, she's got some interesting interviews online. Had worked in the same building as Lynch's daughter. LA attorney Graham Barry had represented several parishioners who said the church ripped them off. Of course they did. He was hounded for years by its staffers and private eyes. Yeah, that's a fair gaming that they don't even mention. The 4 met for 90 minutes with FBI agents Tricia Whitehill and Valerie Venegas, human trafficking investigators assigned to the Department of Justice's Civil Rights Division. Wonder if Scientology hired them too. Lynch and Elliott gave the agents a notebook they had compiled the night before. 4 inches thick, it contained personal stories from Lynch and others. And you guys notice this story is really, really light compared to about all the other stuff that's been going on. Almost like it's controlled or something, right? Because we don't want all the R's of the children getting out now, do we? Or the babies that just come up dead. The notebook included the Times investigative series, The Truth Rundown, published a month earlier. It detailed the accusations of defectors Rathburn, Rinder, and 2 others who said Miscavige. Yeah, we've heard it a million times. The agents said they had read the series. They turned to Woodcraft. She had joined the Sea Org at 14. Many children signed up in their mid-teens. She told investigators they worked full-time like the adult members. There was little time for schooling. Woodcraft explained she became an ethics officer. A big part of her job keeps Sea Org members from leaving the fold. You can ask to leave, she told the agents, but the exiting process called routing out often takes months and it can be grueling. She explained why. Colleagues heap shame on you for quitting. Ethics officers conducted daily one-on-one confessionals called security checks. They pounded into your head that the outside world is hostile and cruel, which is sad because it's actually hostile and cruel inside. If you leave, they'd say you'll have no contact with family, disconnection, and friends who are Scientologists because they will disconnect. You'll owe the church thousands of dollars for the free services you got. You'll have little money, no credit, no job. Almost all the time they stayed, Woodcraft told the agents. Those who insisted on routing out were watched day and night, so they wouldn't run away. One night, Woodcraft was assigned to make sure a degraded being didn't escape. She told the FBI she pulled the mattress off her bed and dragged it into a hallway outside his room. Before falling asleep, she looped a string around the knob of his door and tied the other end to her wrist. He didn't take off that night, but later routed out. Woodcraft did too. She told the FBI how. She purposely got pregnant. She had married a Sea Org member at 15 with her father's consent. 4 years later, she was weary of long hours and Sea Org pressures. She hid her pregnancy until it was too late to abort. The Sea Org, which prohibits members from having children, discharged her in 1998. She was 4.5 months pregnant. She now is 34 and an architect in LA. Her daughter is a teenager. The FBI agents said they wanted to talk with Woodcraft again. The agents asked the 4 visitors if they knew other Sea Org defectors, preferably more recent ones. Hold on, you guys. So it has a bunch of stuff about the Headleys. I'm just trying to skip through and see if anything happened. This all seems like a bunch of fluff. Excuse me. Yeah, it's honestly, it's a good article, but it's always the same old stories, right? The same stories that render and all of them. It's the same thing. So, so it's a really long article. I'm going to go ahead and leave the article in the description box. It's pretty disappointing to me. It's all a bunch of fluff. Oh, we were physically abused. FBI did this. You know, nothing comes of it ever. So this article is just kind of an embarrassment to me. But anyways, you know, worth a little gander. You guys have a good day or a good night wherever you are.